Something Indecent is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Who's ready to get indecent? Yeah! Everybody, shut the hell up and sit down. The show is beginning. My name is Max Booth. I am a host of a show called Something Indecent with me, Max Booth. That's me on the photo. He's not as fast, but give him time, give him time. This is episode 3 of Something Indecent. I've done 3 of them now, including this one. And you know, I love talk shows. Late night shows, oh, the best. The ladle, the more I like it. If it's at 1 o'clock, I dig it. If it's at 2 o'clock, I dig it too. One thing that late night shows always do, they have an opening monologue about what's recent in the news. They get a little political. They read headlines. They make jokes about it. I don't read the news. It's all fake. However, I do, I read a bit about movies. I like movies. I don't know if you noticed this, but I do. And I don't know if you guys saw the news recently, but those rumors that Jaws might be remade. Jaws! Can you believe it? Yeah, boo! Boo! Why would you remake a prolific movie? Directed by Steven Spielberg, written by Ron Jeremy. Obviously, he ghostwrote it. I mean, I'm not against remakes, okay? There's been some great remakes. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The Thing, The Last Jedi, great remakes. But some movies, there's no need to remake. Why not focus on remaking movies that could come back? Movies that were pretty good when they came out, but now opportunities are around to improve. Like, can anyone think of a good movie that should be remade now? Excellent choice. But I'm thinking something a bit more risky, something a bit more professional.
9.5 weeks.
Deep Throat.
Deep Throat's a good one. It's been remade weekly. But I'm thinking of something more like the Zapruder film. I mean, that was a movie shot a long time ago on minimal budget, okay? It came out, it was done, people liked it, but now we don't talk about it too much now. I think it might be time to remake the Zapruder film. I mean, fuck CGI, okay? Just get the bullet, get the gun, and do it, okay? I mean, I'm not joking around here. I think it would make some money back. So any Hollywood producers around, or assassins, think about this. I think it might be time to remake the Zapruder film. Now, I'm not saying, calm down, okay? Calm down, NSA. Calm down, FBI. I'm not saying to assassinate the president. Calm the fuck down. All I'm saying is, we live in Texas. A lot of us have guns. A lot of us like to go yeehaw and shoot into the sky. All I'm saying is, wouldn't it be kind of cool if one of those bullets went all the way up over to some Floridian golf course and just landed on the top of his head? It'd be pretty cool. And what if someone was filming it? Yeah. Anyway, y'all want to get indecent tonight or what? Yeah. Hell yeah. But we have a great... Excuse me? Scumbag? I am a cinemaphile.
So you don't know anything about film. You don't know anything about anything.
What do you know?
I know lots about lots of stuff. What's up, Boston? You filthy bunch of hipsters. When was the last time anyone in this room took a bath? And before you answer it, taking a dip in Barton Springs last summer doesn't count. They are here to see the greatest author in the world read from their masterpiece, but I don't think they deserve it. No, and in fact, I'm a little offended that you invited me to this shit show.
Who the fuck invited you? Who are you?
I have an invitation from Mr. Max Booth. it says, indecent invite for Lucas, and that is me.
Listen, I write on a lot of napkins, okay? I know a lot of people named Lucas.
Well, you know what? Since it's 2020 and everybody's offended, I'm offended, and I'm challenging you to a fight later tonight.
What kind of fight?
A real wrestling match.
Some type of fucking wrestling match, man?
Damn right. Ball's in your court, cuck.
Now, Lucas, you say?
Lucas.
I mean no hostility against you, man. I don't know what I did to offend you. I apologize for the film joke. I forgot to write anything ahead of time, so I was going off the top of my head.
Some writer.
Thank you. Now, what would it take to get you off my back, man?
Something big.
What about, sunglasses?
Warm. What color?
Pink.
Getting warmer.
Hold on. I have shit. I have something for you.
What does this mean?
Now, don't show the audience this. Take this. Keep it secret. But later on tonight, it's gonna come in handy, okay?
Oh my god. Thank you. I'm sorry for the...
Sit the fuck down! Now let's begin this show. It's something indecent. I'm Max Booth. Thank you. Yes, when you clap, I do come in my pants. That's a thing that's canon. Let's begin with John Wayne Comunale. Yeah, you come up. You say hello.
Hey.
Hey, you
Hello.
talk, and then after you finish
Hey.
talking, you sit down.
Oh, I talk first, then I sit down. Okay, good. I got this. Hey everybody, my name is John Wayne. That's my first name. My dad's a weirdo, and here I am. I'm a writer. I write horror and bizarro across this great country and this land, and I'm very proud to do it. I'm very proud to be here with Max Booth in this suit. And when I'm done with this show, I will have completed my obligation to the state of Texas and will be completely free and able to take all signs out of my yard. I just had a brand new book come out from Grindhouse Press January 4th. It's called The Cycle. The Cycle is about, thank you, I appreciate that, about a young lady named Beth who has just turned 23 and moves out of her house into a house she's inherited from her aunt. And then she gets there and things start to go a little bit weird, and maybe she realizes that she doesn't really know her aunt or mom very well at all. And by all intents and purposes, Max has had me out here to promote this book, and I appreciate that. And I should definitely read an excerpt from this book tonight. But before I do that, I would like to read an excerpt from the novelization of the movie Ghost Dad, starring one Billiam Cosby. If you're not aware of this movie, it was about Bill Cosby, and he died. But he comes back as a ghost to still impose his will upon really anyone, namely his 3 kids. This selection is very meta. Ghost Dad. The Cosby Show is on, Diane told her brother and sister. You always say you love it. Why aren't you watching it instead of staring out that window? I'm waiting for Daddy, Amanda explained. Well, so am I, Danny confessed. Just waiting around the dining room isn't going to bring him back, Diane remarked. You were by the window when we got here, Danny said. Besides, I really wouldn't want to watch The Cosby Show now, with Dad missing. He looks a lot like Bill Cosby. Did you ever notice that? Elliot! Diane said, sneering at her brother. "When Dad gets back, I'm telling him you need your eyes checked. He doesn't look one bit like Bill Cosby." "Yes, he does," Amanda said seriously. Diane was just about to offer Amanda some advice about her eyes when Elliot, who is Bill Cosby, popped through the ceiling. "Hey," he called, "look who's back, Camille." "Dad," Danny said excitedly. "Daddy," Amanda said. Darn, Diane thought. He does look a lot like Bill Cosby. And I will read us a short excerpt from the book I wrote, because I drove out here. I feel like I owe you at least that much, but the important thing is that we were here for Ghost Dad. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, I'm going to read a part where Beth is in the house and she's having a dream. A very freaky dream. Not about Bill Cosby or a ghost or her dad, but very close. Beth dreamed she was standing in front of a fire burning in the center of a clearing in the woods. Or at least she assumed so, since she was surrounded by trees on all sides. They were the kind of trees you would expect from a dream, in that they were clearly trees, but not like Beth had ever seen in her waking life. The bark was black, like they'd been recently burned, but the texture said otherwise. Instead of brittle charred chunks, the trees were smooth, somewhat of a shine reflecting the light of the fire. The branches were gnarled and bare and reached out with bone-thin, finger-like, leafless limbs beckoning her deeper into the woods. It was dark. Beth was naked and staring across the fire at what looked like herself. She held her hands out in front of her, but didn't recognize what she saw. She looked down and saw the flat, semi-toned stomach she'd worked so hard to maintain had been replaced by a wrinkly paunch with a line of wispy white pubic hair working its way up to her navel. The sides of her stomach pulled outward and down, becoming wide hips, striped with pinkish red stretch marks like she'd been clawed at the waist by a large-pawed jungle cat. Her breasts were big, heavy, pendulous flesh bags that sagged low enough for the large, dark-colored nipples to scrape the top of her bloated stomach. Beth's hands were plump, wrinkled appendages with black, sharp fingernails jutting from the tips. She'd like to keep her fingernails in good condition, but they'd never been this long or sharp, and the color looked too natural to be polished. The upper portion of her arms was muscle-free, jelly-like, and swung slightly when she lifted them. Beth looked from a body she didn't recognize and across to a fire to one she was familiar with. The look on her face, the her who Beth was currently staring at, was dark and unfamiliar. She was smiling, but not quite. It was more like a smirk, the kind of expression that typically communicated devious intent. She tried to speak to her new doppelganger, but her mouth would not open. She brought a hand to her lips to find that they were sewn shut by what felt like metallic sutures. The Beth across the fire brought a single finger to her lips in a shushing motion that made no accompanying sound. She watched her naked dream self turn away from the fire and walk toward the trees, where she reached out, put her hand on something, and pulled. It was a door. She opened a door from out of thin air, and inside was more darkness. She turned back towards the fire and used the finger she'd shushed with to beckon Beth to follow. From out of nowhere, a loud pounding sounded through the woods, and the ground shook before it opened to swallow her. As she fell, the dream evaporated. She opened her eyes to the sound of someone knocking on her front door.
Ghost Dad. Let's talk about this gal. Leaving trash. That's in here. Yeah. We're talking about this. You do, yeah.
All right.
I don't know how to do this.
I didn't know this. This is like a... Do you know, like, on the old Johnny Carson shows, you could, like, smoke and shit, like, up in the fucking thing?
I have no complaints if you smoke.
Actually, I could smoke because it's like, isn't it like on stage? If you're performing, you're allowed to smoke on stage. I don't smoke cigarettes, but I would do it just to fuck with somebody. But that's fine. I'm not going to do it because I like this place and I like you.
I also watched Nathan for you. I've seen that episode.
What?
What? This book.
Yeah.
What is it called? The Cyclist?
The Cycle.
The Cycle Man?
Yeah, it's about, what's his name? Richard Armstrong, who drove his bike across to the moon, right?
Is that what happened?
And then he found out that his blood was poisoned with vampirism, and he lost his gold medal. Is that what happened?
I don't think that's true. Now,
okay.
In what you read, you talked about breasts a lot. In a disgusting way.
About who?
Boobs.
Oh. I mean, I'm not discriminating when it comes to boobs.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you called them what? Sagging flesh mops?
Those were those specific boobs. Are you talking about Ghost Dad right now?
No, Ghost Dad.
Because what about
Cycle Man?
The boobs in the Ghost Dad were quite perky. I thought fine.
How sexist do you usually get in these books?
What's wrong with being sexy?
A lot. I've gone my whole life trying not to be. And now you come up.
This is not sexist at all. This is a female-driven. There's not even any men in that book.
What does this look like to you?
The moon.
The moon.
We're gonna blow it up, right?
After this show. Now, Ghost Dad, how did you find this book? Tell me how this happened.
Well, I mean, I think that sometimes things are just kind of meant to be, you know? You find, like, you know, the person that's supposed to come in your life at the time that, you know, you need them, and sometimes you find the Ghost Dad novelization that needs to come into your life at that time, and that's kind of just what happened.
Now, Bill Cosby, what's he up to these days?
You know what? I actually have not checked in on him lately. I assume,
He's
something.
Fine, right?
Yeah, he's probably doing all right. Residuals, I'm sure, at least. Jello.
Something like that.
I should get, yeah, I don't know. But I
We
mean,
should get him on the show.
we should. But that's a great movie and a great book.
What do you have against sleeves?
I have nothing against sleeves.
Yeah?
Sleeves are fine and they have every right to exist. I will fight to the death their right to exist, and you support sleeves. I'm happen to be anti-slave at this point in my life. That's just where I'm at. I think that I would hope you would respect that. I don't know why you bring it up in this kind of public forum.
What can I say?
I guess
I'm indecent.
We're hard hitting here.
John Wayne.
Yes.
You drive all around the country selling these books.
Yeah.
Mostly Ghost Dad.
Yeah, well,
Now,
it's a lost leader.
I would think, dragging around all the time, you would have some wacky anecdotes to share about driving and ghosting and being sexist and so on. Would you like to tell us about one of those?
Well, one of my favorite stories to tell about when somebody asks me that is a story that you actually experienced as well.
I wasn't paying attention that day, so go ahead and tell us.
Well, as you can imagine, I travel around the country and I meet a lot of crazy, a lot of interesting people, and I meet a lot of very cool people that I end up being friends with and staying in touch with. But this particular time at a place that I just, a place we happened to be at together, Lucas, the yelling guy before, and Max, and we were at a convention, and a gentleman was at our table who was very much into Predator, the movie.
Yes.
And
not Bill Cosby.
That's Ghost Dad, 1994. He was very into Predator, and he asked if we had any Predator-related paraphernalia at our table, and we didn't. And I came in hot. I was outside. Currently, I was in the parking lot doing a breathing treatment that I need to do every so often to live. And I came back in hot, and these guys were talking to this guy, and he was talking about Predator, and I was like, oh shit, dude, I love Predator. Do you know, like, the new one? Those dogs look so fake. What about the 2010 Predator that Robert Rodriguez did? That was fucking awesome. And he was just like, well, first of all, I don't appreciate that kind of language. And second of all, I have not seen any of the Predator sequels at all. And I was like, I was like, what? Oh, wait, hold on. He was in a Predator cosplay group that he dedicated his life to the Predator. And I said, why haven't you seen the other Predator movies? And he said that he didn't appreciate the way that Hollywood did not present the majesty and the true nature of the Predator, just portrayed them in a awful light, and didn't show their true royal, regal side. And I was just, it blew my mind apart. So I was like, you've seen no other Predator movies? No, none at all. So he told us about his costume, and we said, well, what kind of costume is this? And he told us about it, and we asked how much it cost, and he said it cost $4,000. He bought a $4,000 Predator costume. So we're like, oh shit, you better come back and show us this goddamn costume. Next day, he shows up, Predator guy, he's in the same fucking clothes he was wearing the night before, which makes me think he probably slept in the convention center. But he was like, oh, we're making a walk, we're gonna come back. This dude came back with himself, one other person, and a child that they might have kidnapped, dressed like they were real predators, like from the movie. If they would have started shooting us with lasers, it would have been easily like, oh, well, the predators got us. They were insane. You were there. It was insane. They had their own security detail. Lucas saw it. These guys were Predator, and I became enamored with him because I was like, what's his home life like? Is this guy like, does this suit hang in a glass case in his living room when he comes in? Or does he have a wife that's like, Richard, put your Predator away in the room? You know, he's got to hang it back in the Predator room. Dude, that suit, what is it?
That suit is his wife.
You're probably right, actually. God damn, he came in that suit.
Who hasn't? But you kind of exaggerated his reason.
Did I?
For not watching the sequels. He had one reason.
No, the first reason was the language.
The language.
The second reason was that they did not portray the majesty of the Predator. That's what he was very hung up on. And he said that there was these YouTube fan films that he could recommend to us that showed the regal Predator and it's how it's supposed to be. It's like it's a fucking snow leopard or some goddamn fucking Predator, dude.
What do you think he thinks of Bill Cosby?
He did have that Bill Cosby shirt on the whole time he was talking to us, like before he, but the Predator thing, it was weird.
He was talking about molesting kids too.
So he was fucking...
Okay, John Wayne, thank you.
Okay, thank
you. That was cool. That was fun. Let's get the show going before you all get agitated and leave. Next up, we have a man named Miguel Villa coming up on the stage. He is going to read something. I do not know what he is going to read, but I am excited to find out. Miguel! Miguel!
Thank you. I'm sure if you saw the invite, I had no bio. That's because I don't do shit. So I'm not a writer, but since a fucker in an orange suit can do it, maybe I can do it.
What do you mean by that?
Shut up, Max. All right, so when I was thinking of what I wanted to do, I thought, what is something that I love? Then I remembered that the first project that I've ever done with Max was a little podcast that I'm sure all of you have heard of called Who Shot Mr. Burns, in which we, along with that fucker and another fucker, we watched and commented on the episodes. One thing we always wanted to do, but we never got to do, was fan fiction.
About the Simpsons.
About the Simpsons.
Yeah.
Right. So I decided to try my hand at something. Right. So a little context. Lisa just dropped out of college due to some disagreements with her professors. She's in the gig economy doing odd jobs until she finds herself. All right? I call this the loading dock. The next morning, Lisa's alarm went off early. I'm trying to keep a straight face.
Now wait, how hot is this going to be? Are we all going to come?
Shut up. Rather than dreading another dull day, she jumped out of bed and hurriedly put on her blue jeans and plaid shirt. She skipped putting on underwear. It was an unnecessary roadblock to penetrative delight. She didn't even take a shower. I'm not making eye contact with anybody in the audience. She wanted the stale scent of sweat to stay within her pores and build as three men would inevitably take control of her and drip all over her. She was awakened to the sensual delights of raw animalism. Remember, she's out of college. We're talking about a 21-year-old Lisa Simpson here. 21, 22. Okay. This was the kind of life she imagined being a truck driver would allow her. This was much better than a mere rendezvous at a truck stop. This rendezvous was unavoidable. This rendezvous was inevitable. This rendezvous was planned with implications only an idiot would miss. She was the desire of three muscular working men, and she loved it. On the drive up, she imagined them sweating over those boxes of bananas, passing them to each other in an assembly line, creating a symphony of grunts and moans, working themselves up to a real payoff for their throbbing bananas. Shut up. She arrived early, as planned, and there they were waiting for her. When she got out of the truck, Ralph waved and said, "Good morning." Let's keep it together. She opened the gate on her freight, and the boys started unloading, working at a furious pace. They took off their shirts the more they sweat. Snake had a hairy chest that dripped. His gold chain rosary glistened with his sweat as it swung back and forth, hypnotizing Lisa as he unloaded crate after crate of bananas. "This Springfield heat," he said, "really has me hot and bothered." "You're not the only one, sugar," Lisa said. She grabbed a banana out of the crate and began to peel it. The boys stopped working to watch. She licked the base of the banana to the tip, giving it a little kiss before she deep-throated it. "Wow, Miss Lisa," Ralph said. "They taste better when you eat them like that?" Lisa winked. "Everything tastes better when you eat it like that," she said, and bit into her banana. There were still a good number of banana crates to unload. "I got here early. Y'all want to take a break?" Lisa sat down on one of the crates and made sure to spread her legs before crossing them playfully. Oh, Jesus. "Well, it might be better to get this truck emptied before we get down to real work," Snake said, twirling a lock of his black chest hair. Lisa's nipples hardened. "We're going to need all the room we can get for the kind of 3-on-1 action I've been dreaming about all night," Lisa said. Milhouse looked embarrassed. "What's wrong, Milhouse?" Lisa asked, as she daintily walked up to him and unbuttoned his jeans. Milhouse quickly buttoned them back up. "It's my wife. Yesterday she surprised me at lunch with 2 sausage hot dogs. I swear she could smell the pussy on me. I better stay out this way."
That's enough.
"What?"
This is too much, man. You can't stop.
What?
This is a public...
I still have like 13 pages of this. What are you doing?
Why? Let me see this.
No. What are you doing, man? You're interrupting my reading.
I found this. No, it's done. This is a public business.
He was into it. She was into it.
Yeah, look, he's hiding his crotch. Obviously,
That guy was into it.
everybody came over.
Okay.
There's no point.
You know what you're talking about. Okay.
That's enough. Sit down. We have to talk about this.
Wait. So what?
Sit the fuck down. Why?
I'm sorry.
Why? Is this a novel?
I mean, it's a work in progress.
What made you think it was okay to bring this to a public spot?
I mean, I like it.
We all know you like it. We saw.
Well,
We can see the
I
same.
mean, that's a compliment. I appreciate that, but we know that's not true.
Why bananas?
Well, they're just tasty. There's a lot of sugar in
What
it.
protein?
Yeah. I believe so.
Walk me through the inspiration process of this. You thought, okay, Simpsons fanfic. Banana fucking.
And plus horny.
Yeah, banana, synonymous.
Yeah. Wait, so every time you eat a banana, you're horny?
Well, yeah, that's because I ate it through my ass.
That's some tight sphincter control.
Well, I do have teeth, though.
Oh, humble brag.
Get it? At the end?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to write this?
This is a final edit. So you mean everything?
Yeah.
About 3 years.
Have you read this to anyone yet?
Well, Zach's my editor.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm paying him $20,000 a year just to edit.
It's an ongoing thing.
Okay.
If you could have sex with anyone from The Simpsons, who would you have sex with?
Sea Captain. I feel like his hands would be really calloused, but it would feel really nice.
Plus, you would fuck the eye hole.
Oh, yeah.
You would have some lubrication from the fish.
And it would smell real nice, too.
Yeah.
It'd be the most natural, right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm just coming straight off of... Never mind.
It would smell just like a fish's butthole. Why didn't you write that? Why focus on this child?
At some point, talent...
Is Bill Cosby here? He would love this.
I didn't have inspiration for Ghost Dad. At some point, talent comes into play.
Yeah.
And once again, I said I'm not a writer.
Now,
I can't afford an orange suit like this.
Most kids. Do you know how much all this costs? Way too much money.
$14.
15.
Okay, all right.
Have you seen? You've seen The Lighthouse, right?
Yes.
Now, who has seen The Lighthouse? Woo! Yeah, 2.
My publisher has.
Have you thought about maybe going back and doing some Lighthouse Sea Captain fanfic?
Once again, like, talent comes into play.
I see. Okay. I don't know what to say about this, man. It's pretty bad.
I feel like you're judging me. You asked me on here. I told you I wasn't a writer.
I was trying to be kind. I thought, man, you're lonely.
I am lonely, but you don't have to bring it up here.
I thought you would come out, read something kind of spicy, but this is something...
That's racist. Why is it spicy?
I meant, like, you know...
I don't feel safe right now.
Something Mexican.
It's you can't.
Listen, we all know coming to this show, I'm going to get canceled by the end of the month. That's the whole game plan. I want to be canceled.
So you're saying I only bring spiciness?
You know what I meant. I thought you knew spicy, but you don't know spicy.
I know spicy better than you know spicy.
You wouldn't know spicy if it sucked your dick off.
Whoa. That may be true.
Yeah.
Are you challenging me to a spice off?
I wasn't, but now I am. What do you have in mind?
I don't know. Does anybody have any hot sauce in the audience?
What?
You do?
Why?
So you just walk around with spicy chicken wings on there? Bring it up here, please.
Someone from the audience is bringing up hot sauce.
All right, we're gonna do this. Okay, what is this, the last dab? All right, bitch. Let's do this. What else do you have?
Are we just drinking this?
I mean, I just came from dinner, so I've got some chicken wings.
Okay.
Bring them out.
We can do this. This is going to be painful. Wait, that's for later. Don't touch those. That's my snack for later.
Let me see if I have some napkins.
Do you have any napkins? Would you happen to have any napkins in there? Wow, you are so prepared. Thank you very much. There's some napkins.
So how does a contest like this go?
First of all, my asshole hates you right now.
Mine loves you. Let's meet.
You challenged me.
I just said that you wouldn't have spicy if it sucked your dick off.
Again, thank you. Let's do it.
Which one? This one?
All right, so this is, she just randomly had Hot One's the Last Dab in her purse. That's gross. And also sexy.
Yeah.
I want to fuck your nostrils later.
All right. Which one?
Apparently they're all covered
Why is it so wet?
by this woman in the audience.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, they're so warm. Okay.
Why am I doing this?
This tastes like Wendy's.
I don't like this at all.
Do it again.
I'm not
Play
going
it
to.
again, Sam.
I'm not
Make
going
it
to.
hotter.
They're acting. It's fake.
Come try it.
So try one.
It's fake.
Who wants to try one?
Fake! Fake!
It's fake.
Let the editor do it.
I'm gonna edit this. That's definitely fake.
Okay, that's enough. Get off my stage.
He's acting.
I want to take the other ones.
No, I don't want those.
You were not helpful. What are these two?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Can we get some H2O on the stage?
This is a bad idea.
Big milk.
Step it up, Sean Evans.
Stop faking it.
Next time, you'll think about challenging me.
Listen. Miguel, don't die on my stage. There's a thing you need to know about me. No. No. You know how mogwais, they multiply when they get wet?
Sure.
Yeah, well, when I eat something spicy, I also change. I transfilm. Are you okay? You good?
Yeah. I said you spicy bitch. Just everything you said.
I change into something badass. And I can feel the spice kicking in. So Miguel, you better get off before things
Oh shit. I'm
get
scared.
too badass. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting pretty hot and spicy. And I don't know what's gonna happen, but I do know it's gonna get badass.
Get off.
I know this is what you guys came for. Have you guys ever seen someone so badass that they had a badass t-shirt underneath a bright orange suit? Well, you haven't. Until tonight. Until tonight. You might think I'm done. I'm not. I don't know what's going to happen when I take these down. Hopefully nothing else gets dragged. But it could happen. Yeah. Things are happening right now. To those who just walked in, welcome. I am almost complete in my transformation, but one thing must happen next. Give me 1 second. I have to go vomit. I am now badass. Your John Wayne, bad boy John Wayne, please join the stage. Bad boy John Wayne.
Bad boys of indie lit.
Now your newest recruit, bad boy Mangum, please get up on the stage. Mangum.
Damn right.
Will someone from management bring up a cup of H2O? My throat is on fire.
We're the bad boys of Indie Lit. You might have heard of us. We're fucking badass. We've been banned from so many places. Let me read them to you, all the places we've been banned from.
Read that shit.
All Wizard World conventions, conferences, affiliated events, and their corporate headquarters.
Fuck you.
All Palais Royals. The Library of Congress. The entire city of Branson, Missouri. The World's Fair. The Town's Fair. The Fair Trade Marketplace. Dippin' Dots.
Ice cream of the future, my ass.
The Allegheny County Adult Bookstore in Megaplex. That was mostly me. I'm sorry about that, guys. I know we paid for that.
Paid so much that day.
All Illinois State Public Libraries. Banned! Your mom's house. Oh, banned! Banned! All local farmers markets. That's right. Batman has a restraining order against us, so anywhere within 100 feet of Batman, we are banned.
Hell yeah.
The legendary Red Rocks, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, any event using the name Rocktoberfest, the Rocky statue in Philadelphia, we are also banned from that. John Lennon's grave. Jim,
So much that day.
you did. Jim Morrison's grave, banned. Selena's grave, banned. Gravy, 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 the Emporium of Gravy and more, banned. We cannot go there anymore. Small petting zoos, large petting zoos, the San Diego Zoo, the entire Zootopia movie franchise we are banned from. And oh, guess what? Coming soon, Austin, Texas.
Also coming soon, us. My name is Bad Boy Max. This is Bad Boy Mangum. This is Bad Boy John Wayne. And we are the bad boys of lit. Indie lit. Independent lit, bitches. Not Indianapolis. Independent. Now, which...
That's badass. Fuck yeah.
No one's brought me H2O.
Bad Boy Max, pretty good read some poetry or what?
Not yet.
No.
Let's talk to the audience, baby.
Oh yeah, what's up, audience? Hey,
Who among...
come home with me.
Who among this audience also writes fiction? Is it you? You, Soul, what do you write?
Fiction.
What type of fiction?
Horror.
Fuck you! Who else
Fuck
writes?
you!
Fuck you! Fuck you, H2Os for pussies! But also, thank you. Who else writes? Yeah, you, what do you write?
Simpsons porn fanfic.
Fuck you, man! Fuck all of you! How long it take to write a book, you piece
Bad
of
boy.
shit? Anyone who writes is a piece of shit. Except for us, because we write badass poetry. And now we're gonna give you an example of badass poetry right now!
Ooh, Lucas, my boy, Bad Boy Manga.
Bukowski is an old man and he is dead. I am young and not dead. Being young and alive is better. Being old and dead is not better. Fuck you, Bukowski. Fuck you and your dead old face.
Fuck you! Alright, this is going down. Alright, this is a poem I call Keep It in the Family. If I could turn back time, if I could find a way to unfuck your sister, I bet that'd make your day badass!
Woo! Badass poetry time, baby! Roses are red, violets are blue.
Badass.
Breaking shit is badass! Fuck you, table, fuck you, jail, fuck you, stage. Roses are red, violets are blue. I just came. How about you? Badass!
Here's a poem about things I think are badass. Saving the planet. Not killing animals. Solar energy. Trigger warnings. Freedom of speech. Separation of church and state. Michael Shannon. The way his eyebrows look when he's mad or confused, especially. I would fuck Michael Shannon without a moment of hesitation. Some more things I find badass. Poetry, sexual consent, Eliza Duke in the movie Wrong Turn.
There's a poem I call Talented. You broke my heart when you told me one thing you didn't do was read. But then you did that thing with your tongue, and who gives a shit about reading after that, am I right? Badass!
Badass! Fuck microphones! Microphones!
Michael Shannon kissing, am I right?
I'm gonna read Hunch Stouvel now. I went to the Clelion Milk Shop in San Diego and pissed in everyone's Diet Pepsis. And nobody noticed because Diet Pepsi tastes like piss, even when it doesn't have any piss inside it. Neil Gaiman, you have consumed my piss, just as the rest of the planet has consumed your piss for the last 3 decades. Fuck you, Neil Gaiman. You are not badass. You are a basic bitch, Neil Gaiman. And if we were in a jerk-off contest right now, I would come much more than you would come. It would be an ocean of cum at the end of the lane. Yeah! Woo!
Badass. Oh, man.
All right.
Oh, man.
One more from the Mangum stir. Here's a poem about things I do not think are badass. Submission fees, predatory Hollywood producers, The Big Bang Theory. Not being pegged, seriously, not even giving it a chance. You might like it, you never know. Those things are not badass. Oh, and also drunk driving. Nobody drive home drunk tonight. That's not badass either, thank you.
Yeah, badass! Don't be irresponsible.
I have another poem. It doesn't have to do with drunk driving, so fuck you.
Fuck you. Badass.
My last poem is called Books. Heard of it?
As I set up my books and unfolded my chair, an old man came up and said, "Well, what's that you got there?" "Books, ever heard of it?" Then I slapped his old face. And I said, "Keep walking, clown, because that was just a taste." He looked around for sympathy, but no one gave a shit. And I made him pay for the book I slapped him with, because his old face ruined it. Badass!
Stop tripping.
Why are you tripping, man?
Tripping's badass. Last poem.
If anybody has any acid, we'll take it from you. It's badass.
Drugs are not badass. Don't do drugs. We'll talk about this later. Disney now owns us. Last poem, right? Yeah.
Go, last poem.
Last poem, baby.
Poem.
All right. Badass poetry as I get pegged from behind. Rhymes and stanzas rammed into my badass butthole. Along with a giant lubricated dildo I nicknamed Michael Shannon. Emily Dickinson would be proud. I bet she would blurb my poetry collection. I bet she would say all types of cool shit about it. Fuck yeah! I love to be pegged. It is badass. If you don't like to be pegged, then you will not badass, and you cannot read my poetry.
Yeah! Michael Shannon.
Yeah!
Oh, I'm thirsty. Me too. I'm a little parched.
Now, y'all might be wondering how we became so badass. Well, there's a secret to that, and I'm going to tell you it right now. Many moons ago on a night just like tonight, the three of us all came simultaneously, and we developed a secret paddle that we nicknamed Dick Paddle.
Dick Paddle.
Yeah! And we turned that into a drink that we call
Cocktail.
Cocktails.
Cocktails.
Not DuckTales. That's a badass cartoon.
Yeah.
That's for a different episode.
Say DuckTales? Because that's cool. That's bad.
I would fuck a duck.
Huey? They got the screw here.
Yeah.
Dicks are screwed.
Those little ducky buttholes. Yeah. Who's fucked a duck?
Cocktail.
Yeah, you have.
Well.
So we came up with this drink called Cocktails. It's a, you know how Alex Jones has like his muscle milk? Well, he's a piece of shit. He's not a badass.
Is he here?
He's dead.
Oh.
But we came up with a badass drink that's gonna make anyone who drinks it a badass. And tonight we are gonna demonstrate how to be a badass, baby. So give us a second.
Patience is badass.
If you're patient and you know it, you're a badass. If you're patient and you know it, you're a badass. If you're badass and you're badass, then you know that you are badass and you don't have to have someone sing a song about how badass you are. Get these cocktails going. I'm thirsty as shit. You got the vial or what? Oh, fuck dick powder. Oh, shit.
Dick powder! Yeah.
Every book purchase comes with a free cocktail a night, extra dick powder. Does anybody in the audience have dick powder? No, we don't have a plant. We're badass enough for not to have one.
We keep it private because it comes from old dicks.
Yeah, and we're so badass we didn't think of that ahead of time.
But we do sell. Oh god, that chicken. We do sell books in the back of the fucking place. If you buy anything, we will give you a free shot of cocktail.
Why don't you make a cocktail up right now, Maxie?
Cocktail.
Maxie, cook it up for me right now.
Get some badass H2O. Some dick powder.
That's all you need. Oh, get it up. Don't be stingy now.
Ball sack, am I right?
That's what makes it badass.
We get some badass straws growing.
Oh, those umbrellas are pretty badass. Stir it.
Healthy, suntan things. Behavioral is badass.
It's got a really nice kind of,
Don't be too tan.
That's right.
Anti-aging qualities.
Suntan lotion is badass.
Is this... suntan lotion is badass, but are we going to drink some or are we drinking a cocktail? Uh-oh.
I missed the cut, that's badass. Now we were gonna drink some cocktails together. Alright. Alright, my badass compadres. Shit. Yeah!
Cook it up!
Baby! Drink it! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! This is how you be badass! And remember, it's not...
That's right! It's badass!
I want some of this.
That's so sugary badassy.
Woo! Who's gonna hold this against little dick so I can sip it?
I think that we...
Who's taking my
All they need is both straws.
Well, we have, before we go and be so badass somewhere else, we have one thing we're going to give away a prize.
Here we go.
Cuck it! That is the ultimate cuck. A 1-2-man cuck, that's how you do it.
Oh, baby. That gets the spot, that's badass.
We're going to give away a prize, a badass prize before we leave. Is that right? You keep drinking that? Jesus Christ, you're badass, dude. You're so badass.
Tell them about the prize.
We have a prize that we're giving away to whoever comes up here and drinks these Pop Rocks and this Coke, and you win the cup that it comes in if you drink it right here on stage with us. Who wants to do that and be badass?
Who wants to drink the WMD?
Nobody. Seriously.
Who wants this cup?
Rise and grind, baby.
Nobody wants that cup.
All right, fine. Fuck you guys. We're badass. We'll be doing this in the parking lot.
We're doing it right now.
Oh, we're doing it right now.
Is
Your God can't help you now, Lucas. Man, come.
Is anyone in the audience a scientist? They know if this is actually dangerous.
That doesn't matter. Do it.
Because we're badass. I need a towel. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Why, you're gonna come?
I came a long time ago, and you know that.
Yeah, I feel like you're so badass, you'd be shooting like puffs of dust by now. Even.
That's why they call me the Dust Bunny. Alright.
That's why.
Badass fuck.
Oh my God. Do it.
What's gonna happen?
Do it. Drink it. Did they take all the danger out of this? Oh my God. I'm gonna try it. Oh, it's really loud in your head when you do it.
It makes your dick hard. Do that dick hard, Lucas.
It doesn't not make my dick hard.
Get some badass Coca-Cola.
Wow.
Do it.
I can't believe nobody wanted that prize. Fuck you.
Pussies. Yeah. Well, don't die. You might die tonight. I don't know what's gonna happen.
I hope I die tonight.
If anyone wants
boss is cutting.
That was badass.
That's a badass cut. All right, that's all the badass move I got. Fuck this table. Tables, well, not badass. What is badass is continuing the show. Now, I'm not dressed at all. I'm not going to go into the bathroom and change. I'm not going to change back because I am hot. I just drank a WMD and now it's going to explode in my guts. But you know what? I've never done anything like this before. While I die in the back, if anyone has any complaints about the show or complaints about Austin, Texas or anything, just let me know. You come up, speak your mind.
I have some complaints.
Oh, fuck yeah, you do.
Several complaints.
Uh-oh, well, this lady's gonna complain to you and I'm gonna sit down.
What an atrocity this show has been. Jesus fucking Christ. Go fuck yourself. You're dead to me.
Yeah,
Bad boys is no. June 3rd, to whom it may concern, I'll start this letter by stating how deeply disappointed I am in your lack of response or action to my previous letters. I, as a lifelong resident of this city, would imagine that the elected officials would care enough about the community to take my concerns seriously. And yet the young men next door have managed to set a second couch on fire in front of my home in the last 30 days. For months, I have lived in all-consuming fear of these large, drunk men posturing at me as I bring in my groceries. Their friends block my driveway and then make fun of me when I ask them to move so I may go to my job. At all hours of the night, there's the smashing of bottles and the screeching of guitars. I have civilly asked them to respect reasonable noise ordinances, but this has yet to work. Every package that arrives at my home is damaged or missing. My rose bushes are desecrated for no reason. Why would we want to make the neighborhood look worse? They seem offended by the very sign of life. I restore antiques. Some would call me a hobbyist. I had a beautiful solid brass mailbox that would retail today for at least $1,200. I spent a lot of time and care reviving it to its lost glory. This was not some flimsy knockoff from a home box store. It was solid. Something very heavy had to hit it hard enough to snap it off at the base like it did. I brought this to the attention of a young man getting into a Ford F-150 parked in front of my home the other day, and he pinned me against the garage and asked me what made me think I could accuse him of this. When I mentioned the dent in the rear bumper about mailbox height, he told me, "Get a life, you old. I won't shock you with the rest of these obscenities." I do think something illegal is going on, more so than the breaking of noise ordinance. Terrible things. Drugs. Satanism, dogfighting, you name it. I can't say for sure, however. There's very young women coming into that house. I rarely see them leave. You have to see my concern. Neighborhood cats that are regulars in my garden have been missing for weeks. Who knows what these brutes are up to, what their political leanings are. Their music is incredibly aggressive and seems to have a white nationalist lean to it. As I am not a man of technological pursuits, I'm a man, by the way, in this, I do not believe I should turn my home into a surveillance state. I'd like to think that we live in a world of common decency, where a person's possessions would be respected. But I guess I'm going to have to adapt to this cruel world and start collecting physical things like evidence and using legal terms like lawyer to get anyone to listen to me. Anyway, anxiously awaiting your reply, Jim. August 21st. Hello again. Here's a funny little anecdote to start your day off with a chuckle, with the assumption that this letter ever sees the light of day again. Fred Billsford, my insurance agent, let me know his daughter Laura is actually interning at your office, doing, of all things, opening mail. I do not feel worried about bringing her name into this negative light, as she is new, and thus would not be responsible for the months I've been ignored by you. I'd be lying if I said it didn't plague me, your lack of reply. I am a man of many quirks. I live a rich inner life with agonizing thoughts that the average person would not think twice about. I've elected to abstain from more modern practices that would likely make communicating with others around me much easier. Where some people enjoy spending their free time watching television or interacting on social media, I have found my peace in more quiet pursuits that others would likely find lonely. With the current issues surrounding my neighbors, I am not completely devoid of the concept that I am simply upset that they live a life that is different than mine. I've done some reflecting, and I've even asked my therapist if my concerns are steeped in a feeling challenged in my masculinity, or if I'm not crazy for just emailing you like a normal person. She agreed on both fronts, but has assured me that I am in my right mind to know what is best, and that acknowledging these thoughts at all is a sign of personal growth. Laura, please, if you read this, help an old client of your dad's and get this to the proper desk. Thanks for listening, O Universe. Jim. October 17th. I send you this letter in a dim mood. My beloved Maltese Ian is missing. He's been gone for a week now. This loyal, decent companion is maybe the only shred of humanity in my life, which sounds silly, as he is not a human at all. But I guess that's a curse of our species to bear. He's been by my side for the last 6 years and has arguably brought me more happiness and unconditional love than I've ever experienced in all my 52 years on this earth. I don't think I've slept. I've been sick with worry and more frightening anger. You see, in the days leading up to Ian's disappearance, I started to see some changes in the home across the street. It's been much more quiet these days, but the number of people coming in and out has not changed. There's a man I hadn't noticed before. He's slender and older. I wouldn't consider him all that dignified, but he seems to command the respect of the biggest alphas in that implausibility. Men who don't even respect anything, including themselves. Ian got out of the gate 2 weeks ago. I was watering the lawn and dropped the hose to chase after him. He darted across the street and started digging in some freshly tilled soil in their front planters and pulled out a dead crow. I reached down to grab him and I saw the feet of at least 6 other birds sticking up in the soil. I started to look at the bird that Ian had pulled out of the ground and saw that there was no sign of decay. When I looked up, the old man was directly in front of me. This man had almost no pigment in his iris. His gaze was so far into me as if he was looking through me. And he said, "You better watch that dog of yours." The deep unease I felt in that situation gave me no other recourse but to retreat back into my home. Still a little dazed, I barely noticed a crow had drowned in the pool of water collecting from the unattended hose in the mere minutes that I was gone. A powerful fear came over me as I turned the water off and I ran to the safety inside. Recounting this to you now has stirred the opposite in me. Whatever fear that may have existed has been replaced by fire. My body is so thirsty for vengeance that no amount of punk occult bullshit will stop me from satisfying it if they've done something to Ian. I'm not responsible for my actions. I tried to tell you. This is the letter you'll regret dodging when an investigator contacts you and asks you why you would overlook the threats of an unhinged man capable of a very bad crime, of which I am. Or at very least why you never responded to the repeated warnings from a dead man. Fuck you, Jim. These are all askew from your bad boys of indie lit.
You can't be badass without breaking something. Now,
is this good?
It's great.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, my name's Cheryl Couture. I am, hi guys, I know some of you. Yeah. I'm kind of a writer sometimes. I wrote this thing. Oh, thank you. It's no Simpsons fan fiction.
I mean,
I wish it were.
I don't know. Round pads. Does anyone come?
No, I feel like mine was like the least cum-worthy. I wish we could have workshopped things a little bit more. Had I known it would have degenerated. Things have changed drastically since episode 1. I feel like missing episode 2 was a very terrible move on my part.
It was, yeah. We did talk about you quite a bit.
There was so much cum, and I missed all the cum jokes, and I had so much erotic fan fiction that I could have brought, and I brought this fucking thing.
Next month, I am devising this machine, much like the Nickelodeon slime.
Oh.
It's going to just become. So I am stocking up.
I love cold cum. That's the best cum. I can't wait to see this machine filled with cold, nasty fucking cum.
So, no,
is there a warmer? Is it a candle? Just a little... Just like a 60-watt bulb, right? Like an easy bake oven.
It's going to be like a fresh bowl of ice cream, but with cum.
Oh my god.
So if anyone wants to donate at the end of the show, I am taking samples.
Yeah? Everybody come into that cup, that mug, that personalized mug. Not that one. That one,
Hey,
that's a piece of shit.
what do you think
That
about-
other one.
What would happen if you came on Pop Rocks?
I guess I'm gonna have to find out later.
Do you often complain at town meetings?
No. I really should, though.
It seems fun.
It would be fun. I feel like it'd be a good performance piece.
What would you actually complain about if you had to go to a town meeting?
Sometimes I'm too hot.
It is too
Sometimes I wish it was colder.
Sometimes I think, like, what's the deal with this sun?
Yeah, like, what's the deal with that?
You guys ever think about that?
You guys ever think about the sun?
The sun's way too hot.
It's too hot. I want to be cold, but not too cold.
Yeah.
And that's the job of city council, really.
If you had to complain about the show, what would you complain about?
Oh my god, do we have enough time?
Yeah.
Well, just kidding. You guys are all attractive, and I can't wait to drink all of your cum from a weird cum machine later.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, before we end tonight's show,
Hold on.
Whoa.
Come on.
Hello.
Sit.
Who the
Sit.
fuck are you? I can't see with these sunglasses.
Sit down.
I'm trying to.
God damn it.
That's still my belt buckle.
I, as you should know this, am your therapist. And one backwash. Lots of it.
You just claimed to be my therapist.
I'm your therapist.
You just
Now,
drank badass mouthwash.
I'm a very good therapist. One might even say badass. Now, Max, I took the liberty of watching recordings of your first two shows. Were any of you present for those shows? No, do not encourage this man. It's a sickness. Max, in the very first intro, you talked about only being able to ejaculate to audience applause. And then you had the audience applause over
What's wrong
and
with
over. Oh, it was disturbing. Second week, you talked about fornicating with endangered animals.
Did I?
You did. You also spoke, and I want to delve into this, you also spoke about your mother's reaction to your ejaculate. So,
She did not come.
but the problem we have, Max, is that I believe this fascination with your own dick and ejaculate. Your own. And it would be fine if you were talking about Mr. Mangum's. It'd be fine if you were talking about John Wayne's. We all want to hear about their penises and ejaculate. But yours? And I think it's affecting your memory. Is there something that maybe you've forgotten today?
Today?
Max, yes, today.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I've come playing.
Maybe a day when an incredibly handsome, talented, and beautiful friend of yours was born on this day.
Lucas?
No. Although he is very handsome and very talented. But no, another of your friends came into this world on this day, and you've completely ignored the fact. You've completely failed to acknowledge it, and that could hurt their feelings. And I want to talk to you about why you're so selfish and only talk about your own semen.
John, I want to begin by saying, when I talk about my semen, I'm not leaving you out. When I talk about
That is a relief.
When I talk about my cum, it's universal cum. Anyone can have it. It's up for grabs. It's like snow. And
I thought you were going to heat it, actually.
What?
I thought you were going to heat the semen first.
Sometimes if you want. If you do pee and cum, it does go yellow. Secondly, you come up on this fucking dentist coat, whatever you have.
I am a doctor. Stethoscope.
Do you know what you can do with that?
There are all kinds of things we can do with this.
You can listen to my heartbeat because that's the purpose of it, but not now. Secondly, I have not forgotten the day that you came from the womb.
What? Offer me one single shred of proof that you did not forget about my goddamn birthday.
How about a big old piece of fucking cake?
Holy shit! That is a good piece of cake.
For those who don't know, today is John's actual fucking birthday.
Yes, for the right in the crack there.
And we are gonna wish him a great fucking happy birthday.
Put some hot sauce on.
Yeah, put those.
No.
You go to hell, sir.
You coward.
Now, we were gonna sing happy birthday to him, but we cannot sing the song we all know because I don't want to get sued.
It's public domain.
No, it's not. You're lying. It's not. I've done my research. So we were gonna sing the song we all know, but we will add a fucking. We'll do happy fucking birthday to you. Good? Good enough?
I brought my own. I don't trust yours.
The doctor always has a spoon.
I have a spoon because I'm a doctor.
Dr. Spoon. So make a wish. We're gonna, sing the song at the end. You will blow this out, and then you will eat the cake, all of it, as we watch and scream things at you. Deal?
That sounds good, Max.
I'm gonna get my nice glasses on so I can see.
Right.
Happy fucking birthday to you. Happy fucking birthday to you. Happy fucking birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you. Fuck yeah, you can keep up. Yeah, you fucking That's how I look like Tom. Eat the cake. Hey, you fucking asshole. Maybe I want to give you.
My name's Bill.
We got milk, water. What the hell is up with you?
Give this man some milk and not cum this time. Milk, actual milk.
Hot rocks.
You want some Pop Rocks?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Should we keep yelling at me?
I don't know.
Fuck you!
No.
Yeah.
I do think there's one other thing you've forgotten, though.
I have not forgotten. With every birthday comes my dick and also
Good.
spankings. Every birthday involves spankings.
I've been waiting for this moment since the day I was born.
Get the bill.
No, should I take off the pants, or how do you want to do this?
I think you misunderstand. You will be spanking me. This is my show, and when I do something, I get spanked. Alright? Hold on. Glad there's two people specifically kept this window.
I feel cheated, but also vindicated.
Oh yeah.
Lower.
It's too high, yeah. Too high.
Let me get a better view here.
Aim for the assholes.
Harder! Fucking harder!
Back into it.
Aim the mark. Is it a kid cat?
Kill him!
Someone call 911.
Well, that's the show. At one point, Lucas was supposed to come do something that he forgot because he's drunk. Yeah, this piece of shit here and that piece of shit there thinks it's his birthday. But anyway, I don't want to be a bad boy anymore because these guys suck. And, tip your bartenders, buy some books, and drive safe.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.